Hi everyone, this is Cindy and my gorgeous friend Tammi Morrison sitting with me on the other side of the world. And I am so excited because this is my very first interview that I'm asking the questions. And so Tammy is my very first one. Thank you, Tammy.
You are so welcome, and I am so privileged to join you and actually be your first. I actually interviewed Cindy a few, months ago,
Yeah.
and it was so amazing. And just to have a chance to sit with her and be on the other side of the planet,
So
it's
we are each
awesome.
other's
Thank you
first
for
ones,
having me.
hey?
Mhm.
We are each other's first, hey?
Yes.
Because you were the first person that interviewed me, and now I have the privilege of interviewing you as my first interview. So the privilege is mine.
Yes.
So thank you. Can I just say what you say about yourself, and then can I just say what I feel that you are to me and to
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
So you've got
Yes.
it on your Facebook page that you're an intuitive healer, inspirational speaker, writer, author, and a corporate mindfulness facilitator. And can I just say that you are an absolute angel because
Oh,
I think you can put that in there too. Because I've seen as I read your posts, and there's one in particular that caught my attention that you posted recently. Um, it's just you touch my heart. Like I'm so resonating with what you're talking about, and your passion to go out there, and even though what you went through in your life, you're out there helping others to get their strength to push through those painful times and things. You're an absolute angel, and I do love your posts because you just say it how it is. Don't hold back. and,
no.
and I just love it that you're just always you, and you know, yeah. So can I just ask you a few questions, and then can I just go on to something that you're actually working on now? Because
Absolutely.
I've got some questions.
Fire away.
Hold on, which one? I'm just gonna. They're all good questions, so I'm just gonna point to one.
Okay.
Let the angels ask you first. Oh, this is a good one. So, just without anybody knowing Tammy's story, we might. Can I just before I ask you that? Can I just ask you? No, I do ask you that because that is kind of the question. Oh, when did you first know that something had to change in your life?
Uh, I knew years ago. I knew years ago, but I think that sometimes it takes us time to get to a place where we can do it. Life circumstances happen, because I had kids young, got married young, and not far into the marriage, I was ready to get out of it. But being a person that, doesn't I don't believe in giving up and quitting, and I also was a product of divorce. And so it was something that I really did not want my children to experience because although, and I can't say that, my life was bad after that, because my mother married a wonderful man that stepped in and was, amazing. So it wasn't that, it was just, nobody really knew how I felt because nobody around me had experienced what I experienced. So so I was kind of just out there, and so I knew that, things needed to change in my life at that time, but I didn't know how to make the change and I didn't want to affect my children in a negative way. And so it took a lot of time and and I believe that everything happens as it should. And so the things that occurred and the things that went on in my life, as I began to really decide to make that change, and actually with the help of my spiritual team, because for me, I believe I'm a Christian spiritualist. So I believe in God. However, I believe in an expansive God and not one that, you know, can't do anything. And so um, so that was another aspect. You know, I wanted to be, you know, right in the eyes of God as well. And, you know, I just wanted to have a good life, you know, and I knew that the direction that I was headed in, it really wasn't going to be a good life. However, I also believe that sometimes we go through things and it's not always just for us. And this is one of the reasons why I share, and one of the reasons why I'm so transparent, you know, when I post about things, because I know that there are a lot of people that are going through the same thing. There are a lot of women that, you know, have felt how I felt, you know, and even now, you know, after, you know, getting out of that marriage and being blessed with the man that I have now that loves me, oh my God, like Christ loved the church, like you're supposed to. And, you know, seeing that from that side, and it's almost like I almost feel like I'm bragging when I post about, you know, how he loves me. But then the other part of me is saying, no, I deserve this. I deserve to be loved just like that, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love those posts when you share them because, yeah, I think society wants us to believe that when something good happens to us, we're not supposed to talk about it because they call it
Right.
bragging.
Yes.
I had to
But
learn differently as well about that, that it's okay to say that I've achieved this and that I'm proud of it, that somebody's loving me the way that it feels nice.
yes.
And
Because the thing is, I mean, what else is there in life besides love? You
yeah,
know, you love your children, you know, you love your partner. Um, you know, what else is there besides love? What else is higher to achieve? You know, that's like the highest thing is love. You know, and people
absolutely.
need to see that, you know, that you can come back from adversity, I believe, you know, because so many people, I work in mental health, and I see so many people that come in and they're suicidal and they want to kill themselves. And a lot of times it's because of so many things that happen in their lives. And I believe that if we can be an inspiration to people and show them that, you know, you don't have to do that. You know,
Mm,
you don't have to do that. You can actually come back from this thing. You can actually move forward and you can create a better life for yourself, and you can heal from all these crazy traumas that you've been through.
yeah. It's just you must make a decision at one point that I want a different direction, right?
Yes, yes,
Mm,
yes. You have to be willing to take the steps that are required in order to make that change. You know, and every time when I think about that, I think about Michael Jackson's song,
which
"Man in
one?
the Mirror." You got to make that change. You
Yeah.
know, you have to
Wow.
look in the mirror and you have to make that change.
Wow, I never thought of that. That is so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And I
powerful.
do the mirror thing.
Yes, yes,
Oh gosh.
yes,
Wow. Thank
yes,
you for telling me about that. That's
yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna remember it now. Thank
Girl,
you.
I'm a music girl. I love music. I mean, you know, I'm privileged to be able to listen to music at work. I mean, it's amazing because it helps everything go better. And you know, and I, if I could just listen to music all the time, I'd be good. So you know, and I think music helps to heal us in so many ways, because
Yeah.
if you listen to some of the words in some of the songs, it's like, oh my God, you know, and it's like they're speaking directly to you know, helping you to heal. And
I
that
know.
was one of the ones that really stuck out to me. And I think about it. And it's funny because I even share it with my patients when they come in and I say, hey, I said, sometimes you have to stop and you have to look at the man in the mirror. You know, stop looking outside and blaming people for what's going on with you, because blame is such a lost emotion. I said, it doesn't even help anything. I said, now it's time to look in the mirror and see what it is you need to do in order to change you.
And was it easy for you to find that out about yourself that you had to change?
Ah, absolutely not.
Oh. Or were you
It was
fighting
not
it
easy,
first? Because I know I was fighting it, like, no, 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 I don't have to change. I'm good.
right? You're like, no, it's so and so. It's not me.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't easy. It was like, okay, so now what do I do? Because the first thing you do, of course, is you start looking around and see who to blame. Okay, it was my mama, it was my daddy, it was my cousin, it was my grandma, it was my circumstances, it was because I was born on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
You can look around and you can find all kinds of reasons and excuses, but that don't help you at all. Because then after that, you have to figure out, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And and a lot of times you get stuck in looking at the how as well. So there are times when you have to put that to the side and not even think about the how, just think about the what. What is it that I need to do? And what is going to help me to make this change? And how can I lift myself up, and not look to others, because it's all inside. Everything that we need is inside of us.
Yeah.
And we can all, and it's funny because people are so quick to embrace illnesses. They're quick to embrace blame. They're quick to embrace those things. And, none of that stuff has to be. None of that stuff has to be when you begin to take responsibility for your life and you begin to say, okay, this is what I can do, and this is what I need to do, and this is what I want to do. That's the other part.
Mm. Thank
So,
you for sharing all that. That's amazing. Well, I became allergic to watching TV.
huh?
I became allergic to watching TV.
Oh,
First,
wow, wow, wow.
first it was just the news, but then I had a couple of shows that I really loved, and I don't want to name them because some people still love them and let them love it. But
Right.
even those shows, they used to be funny shows to me, and now that I'm more aware of myself and what I want to achieve and
Hmm.
what directions I'm going, I'm noticing that that's not funny. But
Right.
yeah, that is not funny because sometimes say things to each other that they think it comes across in a funny way, but it's actually
Hmm.
hurting that other person.
Yes, yes. And there are a lot of shows like that.
So
And
I'm
they
like,
kind of just slide it in too.
yeah,
It's like they slide it in, and that, I guess that's a
it's
part
also,
of the
isn't it?
society that we're living in.
Yeah, it's so subtle that you kind of don't realize unless you
Yes.
make yourself aware of things, you don't
Hmm.
even realize what's going on. But it goes into your subconscious and it kind of stays with you, and then you just kind of
Yes.
become immune to people putting you down. And
Yes.
so yeah, I'm allergic. But first it was just the news. now it's
Yes.
now it's everything. I can't watch. I do watch it sometimes because it's helping me to um, bring more out of what I'm aware of. But
Hmm.
I watch it less and less because it just brings my energy down.
See, and that is so real. And the thing is sometimes that is like such a hindrance to you when you're trying to move into, a more conscious awareness. And that was a part of something that I dealt with as well. I said, I'm beginning to be more conscious, and I'm waking up, to who I always was, and to the person that I was put here to be. And so that stuff gets in the way, and it's like every time I hear on the news when they start talking about um, the man that's in the White House, I say, I can't do that. I don't want to hear about the tweeting and the Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's too much for me. It takes me places. So I say, no, I'm not going to partake in that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I was like, we're going to, yeah, no, we're going to dwell on peaceful things.
Yes.
So that we can stay in a good place, and that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like in order to stay in a good place, you have to watch, what you watch, what comes into your awareness, like you said.
Mm. Another question, asking the angels, I'm just going to do this, not looking. Oh, this is a good one. I have some of these lately. So I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite light bulb moment?
Light bulb moment?
Yeah, you know when you just have like
an aha.
That's what it's all about. I had a few of them.
You know, when I think back, and as I'm writing my book, when I think back on it, it's like, I don't know, it's like one day I was sitting in the park, and it's funny because I used to work a lot. Like, I mean, it was nothing for me to work every day for, I don't know, months. You know, I would work a lot. And so this one particular day, I just got in the car. My kids were in school because I work nights mostly. So my kids were in school. I had got off of work, and I think I was off the next day. And I just got in the car and I just drove like an hour from my house. And I went to like a state park, and I just pulled in and just sat there. And I got out the car and just stood in nature. And as I was standing there, I was like, you know, I'm not happy. And that was, to me, that was like the first time that I actually verbalized it to myself. And there was nobody else around, but probably some animals. But it's like it hit me while I was sitting there. I said, you know, I'm just not happy. My life is just not happy. And I'm a happy person, and you know me well enough to know that I'm a happy person. I like to be happy. I don't like to be sad, and you know, and I just never thought I would live my life in that way. And so at that moment, I was like, something has to change. And to me, that was like the major part of what needed to occur in order for me to change my life. You know, and at that point, it was like, like revelation, you know, like the light bulb went on, like you said, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then even at that point, it was still a year later when I began to see the change. And that's an important part too, because even though you make a decision to be the change, sometimes it takes time in order to see the change.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you make a decision one day and everything doesn't just fall in place tomorrow. Sometimes there are times. So that was a critical point for me. Just, you know, just to wake up and say, hey, I don't enjoy this life. You know, I'm fucking miserable. Is what I said.
This is what I love about you. Oh, can I just show you something? Because this is me, right? These are my questions. Oh, I don't know. See the little. Where is it? I've got little bunny heads and things like that, little doodling.
Oh wow!
This is why I'm pointing, because I was just sitting here before you came on the camera, and I'm like, okay, angels, what do I ask Tammi? What are the things that I'm really wanting to know from this beautiful soul? And then I just started writing.
See, that's why I love you. Because that's how I do mine. I have no questions. I don't send people questions, you know. We just get started and we just have a beautiful conversation, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, so nothing of this was planned. Even I didn't know what the question's gonna be.
Well, that worked out.
Can I ask you one more? Because there's about
sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is it? I had to circle them because they started flowing into each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm just gonna do another one. And it's funny because it's just kind of. You're a nurse, right? And you've been a nurse for like what, 20 years?
26.
26.
Yes.
That's hard work. Like I take my hat off when I have one to, you know, symbolically to you and all the nurses, because I could not do what you guys do. It's I've been in hospitals and I've been the patient, and I do not want to be my nurse.
I don't want to be my nurse either.
I'm in a pain in the neck in hospital. So
I try not to be. It's funny. I try not to be, but it's hard, because and I've worked in the hospital and nursing homes and hospice and home health, and you pretty much name it, I've pretty much done it.
yeah.
So I know how it's supposed to be done, and these days they're not training them like that.
Really? Oh. Also,
So,
so you want them to do the things that you know that they can do or able to do.
and a funny story is my husband was in the hospital back here in June for 4 days. And so while I was there, of course, I was there with him. And one of the nurses asked me, she said, she said, are you going to go home? I said, I'm not going home. I said, y'all not going to kill my husband. I said, no, I'm going to be right here. Because, if you don't know these days, the way that they stress the nurses out so bad, they have too many patients a lot of times. They have too much to do for them. They don't have time, So if I wasn't there, my husband wanted to take a shower, nobody was available to help him take a shower. He didn't want a damn bed bath. He wanted to get in the shower. And he needed somebody there with him because he was on oxygen and he was weak, and so I was there, so I could do all that, disconnect him from the IV and wrap it up, put him in the shower and all that good stuff, and I was thinking about that, and I said, if I wasn't there and I didn't know, he would have just been suffering and somebody would have been waiting. And my husband is just not that type of man. He's got to have a shower.
He's gonna do it.
And he was going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
So I said, I looked at the nurse. I said, no, I'm going to be right here. I said, because, you guys have a lot. And I understand that you have a lot to do and a lot of patients and all that kind of stuff. I said, so I'm going to make sure that he gets what he needs. Not only that, I'm listening to what the doctor says. The nurse wasn't even in the room. So I know what the doctor said and what, and so when they came in with some medicine that the doctor said he was going to stop, I said, he said he was stopping that. And I'm, y'all not gonna kill my husband because I only had him a couple of years.
Gonna keep him a bit longer, right?
Right? And it was funny because we sat in the ER for, I think, 7 or 8 hours. So finally, by the time they got him in a room and everything, we went in the room and my husband, he couldn't even hardly breathe. His oxygen was so low. And he still was thinking about me. We got in the room and they had 2 little hard chairs in there. And he said, is there any way anybody can get my wife a chair? He said, because something comfortable to sleep in. And I thought, my God, what a man. He couldn't hardly breathe, girl. It was awful. He had pneumonia and ended up being valley fever. But he couldn't hardly breathe and he was so exhausted, didn't have no appetite, nothing like that. And my husband is not a small man. So, just the thought of that was like, oh my God, even in this time, he's thinking about me, and the nurses were like blown away because he was like, can somebody, get my wife a chair or something more comfortable so she can sleep, which of course I didn't sleep, but still, I thought that is so amazing. But yeah, so I was like, I have to stay here because I'm not, not going home. I said, next thing I know, they'll be calling me talking about, well, we did all we could and he's dead. I'm like, oh, no. Because that happens more than you know.
Yeah, you hear about it all the time, don't you?
You do. And people, just like you said, they're desensitized toward it because it happens all the time. It's kind of like the school shootings here. Yeah. It's like the school shootings here. They have them all the time. And they're shooting up the mall and all kind of stuff like that. And now you hear about it so much till you're like, oh, another one? It's not even sensational anymore. Like years ago, when that stuff happened, it would go all around the world. And it was awful, right? Now, you might not even hear about it in your part of the world because it happens so often. and
Well,
so regular.
yeah, unless somebody tells me, I don't know because I just don't watch anything. But
Exactly,
if it
exactly.
comes through Facebook and I scroll through and I see something and I see it, or somebody comes to me and tells me, you know, I
I'm
had
laughing because
conversations.
that's the way I feel. Because somebody says, because my husband will say, well, such and such a thing happened. Because, you know, he likes, like most men, NPR and stuff, right? He's like, well, I heard on NPR, so and so, so and so. I said, yeah, I saw that. He said, you did? I said, yeah, it was on Facebook.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that career, I think when I think of it now, I think that it probably prepared me for a lot of life, you know, because it's for me, I take it seriously when I take care of people, you know, and I I'm very empathic. So it was difficult for me in a lot of ways because I could feel their pain, you know, and I've always been like that since I was a child. So I guess for some reason I was pushed into that field. Probably because my mother's a nurse and I have several aunts
Oh,
that are nurses and I have quite a few cousins that are nurses and everybody's a freaking nurse in my family. So I just kind of fell into it. And then as I did it, because I feel like, you know, I feel like this, if I'm taking care of you, then I want to take care of you like I want somebody to take care of my family,
mm,
you know, and that's how I've always, you know, approached my work. But, you know, of course, sometimes it's difficult because sometimes people can be difficult, you know, so there has to be a line where you protect yourself. And that's something that I've learned just over time and over the years of doing this, you know, because I've been in the healthcare field now 28 years. Because before I was a nurse, I was a nursing assistant. So almost 30 years, but it's taken a lot of time just to learn how to do that and to not become callous. Because a lot of nurses, after doing it that long, they're callous. They don't even feel, you know, because you know people are very abusive to people in the medical field, especially nurses. They're abusive. You know, they take everything out on you as if you're not a human, as if you have no feelings and you don't care. You know, and you have to learn how to not internalize that stuff and not take it personally. And I think it probably helped me in my life because of all the other shit that I've been
mm. So with all that you went through and still going through, because now I want to bring up your book that you're writing. So you're
through.
already a best-selling author. You've got one book out that became
Yes.
number one. Congratulations. And now you're writing another one.
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that. What the question that was landing on? What makes you jump out of bed every morning? Sometimes you may not jump, but you know.
Wow, now that was a good one. um, considering, I don't know, I'm so thankful for life, you know, and I guess because now I'm at a place where I'm happy, you know, and I'm, you know, with the man that loves me, which makes a difference to me in my life. And just considering that I have another day, you know, to accomplish, you know, whatever I want to, you know, because sometimes when you're miserable, you can't even see. It's like you can't see the rain, even though it's raining, you can't see it, you know, and it's almost like you have blinders on because you're so miserable and all you can focus on is your misery. And so now, you know, I'm extremely happy in my life and I'm moving toward doing things that I enjoy, you know, and transitioning into a place that is just good for me, you know, and so that wakes me up and just being able to command my life, you know, because I used to work so much till I don't even know. I think about it now. I think God was with me because my children turned out to be such amazing human beings. But I worked so much, you know. I spent quality time with my children, not quantity. You know, I mean, I would take time off and we would go take a trip or something like that, and, you know, all that kind of stuff, because I believed in that. But you know, there were days where, you know, we almost were like passing ships because I would be getting ready to go to work. I make sure homework was done, make sure they had dinner and all this stuff, you know, and if they had to go someplace, take them and, you know, make arrangements for somebody to drop them back off after the practice or whatever, because they did sports and, you know, all types of stuff. And so, you know, I think about that, and I think about how, you know, they grew up to be just some amazing kids. You know, my daughter will be 30 in November.
Wow.
And yeah, and they're amazing. They really are amazing kids. They're woo-woo kids, which I love. You know, they're creatures of the universe, and they're amazing, you know, and I'm just so thankful for that. You know, that's one of the things that I think about, because so many kids, you know, get all messed up, you know, and in this environment. And I think it's these millennials, you know, people talk about them, but I admire them because they know what they want and they go for it, and they don't care what people say. You know, for us, you know, my generation, you know, our parents said, okay, well, go to school and do this, 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 and this. And you go to school and you do this, this, and this. You figure out you don't really like it after a few years, but you still do it because you say, okay, well, it pays me good money, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, these kids in this generation, they're not doing that. They're like, okay, I went to school for this. You know, I went to school to be a doctor. I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go be a pastry chef, right?
Yeah.
But they're happy, right?
Yeah.
So I love that about them, you know, because I'm like, why should you do something for 30 years that you don't fucking enjoy?
Exactly. Just because somebody said that this is how we do it.
Exactly. And so I admire that about this generation. And my kids are just actually exactly the same. You know,
That's
I was
awesome.
like, you know, they go to school for this, but they don't really like doing that. So then they go do something else.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be a, you know, whatever. You're like, oh, okay, well, you know, as long as you take care of yourself, I'm good with it. Now I'm not going to pay your bills.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, so what wakes me up in the morning is just being able to wake up and to be happy and to be able to be in this place that I'm at, you know, and I don't know if it's being 50 that has helped me to move there and just, you know, see everything so in a beautiful light. You know, it's like it's almost like people talk about that glass, you know, half empty and half full. And I always say it's amazing just to see the glass. You know, fuck it if it's half empty or half full.
I love
You know,
that.
just to be able to see the glass is what's amazing to me.
I
You
know.
know, see that there is a glass, you know. And you
I know.
don't have to hold the water in your hand
You don't have to go down, 50
to the
kilometers to
creek.
get a, yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. Oh, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I saw this beautiful sun coming up, and I said, "Oh, look at the beautiful sunrise." And he's like, "What's so nice about it? What's so beautiful about it?" Are you serious? Just the fact that you can see it, maybe?
Yes, yes. The fact that you can see it and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you're alive to see it, and then you've got
Yes.
a side to see it with, and you can feel the warmth of it, and even if you can't see it, you can feel it, and there's just so many things about it that you can love about it. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
a new beginning. Like, you can do whatever you want to do today. It's up to you how your day is gonna be. It's another
Yes.
start.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, the same with the glass. At least you can be appreciative. You can see the glass.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's up to you whether you want to make it half empty or half full. You know?
Exactly.
But I mean, if you can't see the glass, it don't make a damn difference if it's half empty or half full.
No, you're helping me to see all these different things. I'm loving this. Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
let me look at these questions. What else is left? Two. You actually talked about that. There's one question. Do you remember a turning point? But that was your aha moment, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
it was amazing. You know, it was at the point where, you know, you can't look back anymore. I think that's the point. Can't look back. You just have to, because I tell people that all the time. I say, you know, our head wasn't designed for us to look back, because we can't turn our head
I'm
all
turning
the
it
way around like
around.
the exorcist, right?
Yeah.
We can't. So we're not designed to do that. You know, we shouldn't, I think that looking back is just for learning purposes.
Hmm.
It's just so that you can say, okay, well, I did it that way, so let me try another way.
I didn't
Maybe
particularly
that's
like
better.
that one. Let's do something different, right?
Right.
Or I really
Exactly.
like this one. Let's move on from there. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And how
So
can I make this better? But not just, permanently, because I know people, and you do too, that permanently just look back. And I'm like, why?
yeah.
What the hell difference does it make? You
But
can't change that.
I used to be like that. I know I was like that. And sometimes I still catch myself doing it when somebody says something and I'm not very conscious about what's going on,
Hmm.
I get wrapped up in it and
Yes.
then they get me going and then I'm like, Cindy, stop. Stop
Hmm.
right now. You're not doing this. And then I just walk away,
Hmm.
like literally turn around and walk away and never
Yes.
go back because
Yes.
it is so destructive.
Yes.
Um,
It'll have you
but
crying for no damn reason.
but if you've been doing it for a long time, is this the same to you? Maybe somebody else who's watching this can relate to that. If you've been doing it for a long time, for me, it wasn't a big jump that I stopped doing it. It was a gradual noticing that, I started listening to people who said that, Cindy, maybe you could do it a bit different and not look back as often as you do. And
Yes.
then started catching myself out when I'm doing it.
Yes.
And then I had to like literally see a stop sign in front of me as if you're
Hmm.
driving on the road and just stop,
Yes.
right? And then I
Yes.
had to train myself to do that. It took a while,
Yes.
and every now and then I still catch it doesn't happen very often now, but occasionally it still happens. And so if somebody's watching this, was it the same for you, Tammi?
Yeah, because the thing is you realize that life is a journey,
Yeah.
and it's a daily journey every day. It's not
Yes.
like you can say, okay, Cindy, stop. I'm done. No more. No, because you get triggered.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like the difference between whether you act or react.
Mm.
And I always talk to my patients that come through, mental health patients that come through, and they want to kill themselves because this happened or whatever. And I said, you might want to rethink that. you know, because you only have this one life that you know of. I mean, we all have more lives. I mean, whatever you believe, but this is the only one that you know of at this point. So maybe you ought to just make some changes. Maybe you ought to start hanging out with different people. You ought to start listening to different things, and give yourself some time, and also cut yourself a break.
Yeah.
Because we hold ourselves sometimes to such high standards, and we do it to ourselves more than other people do it to us, and so I found that as I give myself a break, and I begin to recognize the things that are my strengths, and I begin to focus on those and not so much my weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and then also realize who I am. That was a part of it for me. I just had to realize who I am, and I'm still evolving into who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be. And so as you begin to recognize that, and also, cut yourself a break, realize that it's a journey, that it's a daily journey. It's almost like, okay, so I used to smoke at one point. So every day, after I quit, because I'm a person that has to quit cold turkey, all those other things never work for me. Pills made me crazy, and have nightmares and stuff, and I couldn't do those. The other pills they gave me didn't work. I don't know what they were supposed to do because I was still smoking while I was taking them. So for me, I'm a cold turkey girl. So I had to just stop, but for a while, every day I still wanted a cigarette. But I didn't give into it and I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And it was a hard thing to do for me. And so, but I had to just talk to myself every day and say, no, you don't want that. That's not good. And of course, you feel better as the time goes on. And then I wasn't like a super chain smoking person. You know what I mean? I smoke mostly at work because, at work, when you smoke, you get a break. If you don't, they don't think you need a break.
Oh no! So you had to smoke to get a break?
Yes, they say,
Oh
oh,
no!
you say, I got to go smoke because they know you're going to start getting irritated.
Oh
You're
my
going
goodness!
to start cussing people out, and it's not good. So, you got to get a break. So you say, I'm going to smoke, and you go smoke. And so, as I decided, made the decision that, hey, I'm going to stop that because it's not healthy for me. It's not good. I really never liked the smell of smoke, to be honest. I always smoked outside. I didn't like it in my clothes. I don't like it in my house. And so that was a decision that I had to make, but it was a daily thing for a long time. Now I don't have a desire for it, but it took a long time for the desire to go, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like that in life as well. It's like, every day you have to live and every day you have to live on purpose,
Mm.
and then every day you have to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Every day you have
Giving.
to say,
Yeah.
yes, I
That's
forgive
so
me,
important.
and I'm
Yeah.
going to allow myself to be human because sometimes for me, I'm like, okay, I'm a super person, because I was, really smart in school and I did a few years in college. I didn't finish, but I did a few years in college, and I always felt that way. And so it's like, okay, you shouldn't be having these issues, because you're really smart, and this is how I used to talk to myself. But then I had to realize, I'm human. That
Yeah.
is one thing. And then the other thing for me is I realized how super empathic I am. I had to learn how to protect myself. And I'm still doing that.
Mm.
Learn how to protect myself from absorbing other people's shit, other
Yes.
people's energy and and all that and taking things so personal, and realizing that, maybe the reason why they lashed out at me is because they're having their own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I was talking to one of the patients last night and I said, listen, I said, you don't have to do this. I said, you can think of other ways. I said, there are other ways to cope with what you're dealing with. I said, and there are people you can talk to. And I just shared all that with them. And I said, I said, because I said, honestly, I said, like Kendrick Lamar said in his song, everybody got fucking problems. I said, and it's
Yeah.
what
I
you choose
agree.
to do and how you choose to react and respond to them, that makes the difference. But
Absolutely.
everybody got problems. I said, yeah, you got problems. I said, hell, I'm standing here talking to you and I'm working with you. I said, but you don't think I have problems? I have problems too. I said, and I ain't trying to go kill my damn self. you know.
Mm.
So I think that a lot of times, once you realize that and you realize that, hey, I'm gonna cut myself some slack. And then the other part of it, I believe, is you got to love on yourself. You have to find ways to love on yourself. And that to me was a massive part of my journey to becoming who I am now and who I'm going to eventually arrive at. Just loving on me and learning how to love on you, because we all need love different. You need a different type of love than I need love,
Mm.
and everybody, it's funny because I was watching a show the other month and one of the guys said, they were talking about their mama and they said, yeah, says, she rather she rather fight than feel. And I
Right.
said, hmm, she rather fight than feel, because the mama was getting all upset and stuff like that and she was ready to fight, but really she just needed to take a step back and feel. And that was so, it was like an eye opener really, And I actually thought about that. And that's been months ago when I saw that. But I was like, and I think I wrote that down.
Yeah.
And I actually was thinking about doing a wisdom drop because I do weekly wisdom drops, which I dropped the ball, but I'm gonna start back. And so I thought about that. I was like, that's a good wisdom drop because there are a lot of people in this world that rather fight than feel.
Yeah.
You don't want to open up, and even just to yourself, because in order to feel, you've got to open up
Yeah.
and you've got to recognize that you're on a journey.
Mm.
So that is like, that's amazing to me, because as you begin to awaken and as you begin to learn who you are too, and that was another thing because a lot of times we go through life and we don't know who the hell we are,
Mm.
and it amazes me. And it's funny because my husband, now he just turned 60 a couple of days ago. And he said, he said, baby, one thing about 60, he said, it has my eyes open. He said, and then the other thing is, he said, you get to the place where, he said, you just don't give a fuck what people say about you.
Yeah, it must come with age, hey? Like,
Yeah.
I just turned 21 not that long ago, and I just...
Yeah. I was going to say, I turned 29.
I got to that point that I really don't care what people think of me.
No.
Like, I just do what I do when I want to do it, and I don't do anything intentionally to hurt anybody.
Right.
And if it doesn't fit into somebody else's life, then it's just too bad.
I think it's their problem. And it's funny, my daughter used to say this to me all the time. She was funny. She would say, I would say, well, what about such and such a thing? We'd be having a conversation. And then she'd give me this look, and it was so hilarious when I think about it. And she would say, Mom, she said, I think it's a you problem.
I think what?
She'd say, that's a you problem.
A you
A
problem?
You problem. Mm-hmm. It's not anybody else's problem. It's just yours.
That's awesome.
Right? And she was young, probably a teenager when she would say that. And she would say, Mom, she said, because I would be talking to her about like a situation, because we would bounce things off a lot of times because she was very mature. And so I would say, well, what do you think about this? This girl said blah 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 whatever, or I had this issue at work, because sometimes people just have their own problems and they try to throw them off on you. And so I would have a conversation with her, and she would look at me, she said, Mom, I think that's a you problem. And she was being objective because she was on the outside of it, right? Yeah. So it was just amazing. I think about that. It's like, okay, so maybe that's the me problem.
Children are so in tune with themselves still.
Yes.
I'm learning so much from, especially for my little youngest one, Kitty.
Yes, she's so precious.
Just tells me stuff, just so blasé, And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I never thought of it that way. And she just simplifies things for me. I've got this thing behind my back. I've got 3 of them around the house. Stop overthinking so you can start living. But she helps me with that a lot because sometimes I'm overthinking things and making things bigger than what they are. And then she says, Mommy, just don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything is good. And then she goes in her room. She gets me a gem. And she said, just hold this for a couple of minutes. I'm like, okay.
You got a woo-woo child too.
And so children are still in tune with who they are.
Yes. So is it different for you with raising a younger one than it was the older one? Absolutely.
And I so wish that I knew this much when my older children were little.
Yes.
It's just I wasn't there.
Right.
I just wasn't there. So I can't undo it. So I'm not looking back on it. And that's part of their journey, my journey, and everything.
Yes.
But it's totally different with Kitty because I'm more relaxed. I don't know, I'm just more happy with
Awake.
myself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
awake. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
awake.
Yes.
And then when we went to this place Thursday. I can't remember what day. Thursday.
It don't matter.
But anyway, she was in this group of is this room with a lot of children,
Mm-hmm.
classroom, and she loves art. Like, she just absolutely loves painting and drawing and creating any kind of artwork. She's always
That's
making
awesome.
something. And she's sitting in this art class and she's getting anxious. I could feel her energy going. She's getting flabbergasted and she's
Mm-hmm.
just getting agitated, and she had, and this is what got me. She had to draw a love heart, and she was
Mm-hmm.
like, there is something seriously wrong here. When Kitty, who loves love hearts because she makes me love hearts all day long and brings it to me all the time, and she's anxious about drawing a love heart. And eventually, she just didn't want to do anything. She finished what she had to do, but I had to push her, and I'm like, then she kind of just walked away, and then I was starting to, I fell into that. I caught up in the moment of, but you have to do this because this is why we're here, and you must.
Right.
And then as she walked away, and I'm feeling her energy, just, she was just so much in pain, and I'm like, you know what, Cindy? It doesn't matter about anything else right now but her.
That's right.
And I caught myself saying a sentence to her, and I said to Kitty, you must do this because, you can't not do this because you're going to get into trouble and we're going to get into trouble and all that stuff. As soon as I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, Cindy, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing and nobody is more important right now than her.
That's right.
I said, you know what? Outside, would you like to get outside? She said, yes, can we leave, please? And she was crying. I was crying. It was really emotional because I could see this little girl just getting so anxious.
Mm-hmm. And no need for that.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was because somebody told her something that she must do right now, and all the noises around her, and she was just not in a good place at all.
Well, that can be overwhelming.
Pardon?
I said it can be overwhelming.
Yeah. So, and then the same day we come home, and then at home she starts painting all by herself, and she's just back into her happy self and everything. So sometimes we realize, it just made me realize again that sometimes you get caught up in that moment of what
Mm-hmm.
society wants you to do, and it's not easy to just stop that, right?
Right, right,
But the
right.
thing is, I think people, when you have a lifetime of patterns of what you've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are expected that, oh, she's doing so much better now, I must do it the next day. I must feel better the next day or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You have to give yourself some time to heal and to get into the different patterns and all those things. And as I'm watching Kitty using her own inner guidance of, hey, I'm not feeling good in this place right now, I want to leave,
Mm-hmm.
is such a big moment for me because I didn't used to do that.
Yes, especially at 8.
Just put up with stuff just for the, making everybody else happy.
Right.
But it's our own happiness, the most important thing to look after, because if we're not happy in ourselves, how can we be happy? How can we be happy with anything else?
Yes.
Not true
Well,
happiness.
exactly. And the thing is I don't know about how you were, but for me, I think I've been a people pleaser for like years since I was young, and I think, my mother was a young mother, not super young, but I think how was she? 18 when I was born. And so I grew up a lot with my grandparents, which was amazing because I loved them. Oh my God, I miss them so much. But, it made me um, want to please, because I have a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, but I'm the oldest out of all of them, and I'm like much older than them. Like I'm 9 years older than my oldest brother, and so I did a lot of mothering for them, and even my youngest sister, I pretty much raised her. So I feel like I've been a mother way before I was a mother. You know? And I was, because I mean, there were times when um, my brothers and sisters, my mom would tell them something and they would look at me, you know, and she's like, I'm your mother, but they spent a lot of time with me, so I taught them a lot. And I did that and I grew up like that, and then I became a mother and I was other people's mothers. And then I had all these other kids that, I mothered as well. So I feel like I did a lot of that. And so now it's like, I don't have to mother nobody else right now.
Yeah.
I don't even have animals. I don't got no dog, cat, nothing. I don't want to take care of nothing. And I'm good that way, And now we're having, well, I have a grandson, and then my husband and I are having another grandbaby. I think it's due in February.
Oh,
So it'll be his
congratulations.
first, but and we claim all the kids as ours that want to be, you know how that is. And we don't, I laugh, I said we just have his and hers and ours together. But yeah, so when you do that, you are, it's like you put yourself to the side and you're pleasing everybody else, and it's a pattern, just like you said, that you have to get out of. You have to figure out a way to just stop that, and it's not always easy, and it's always a process.
Yeah.
So it's like you know it's like baking a cake. Just because you put the flour and the butter and all that in a bowl, it doesn't mean you have a cake, right?
No. Especially not with me.
Still got to mix it, still got to put it in the pan, and still got to bake, and then it's got to cool before you can eat it, right?
Yeah.
so so it's the same way, it's like, even though you've begun this process and you said, okay, I'm going to, not do that, and you recognize with your younger daughter that, you don't want to put her in that type of anxiety, because what happens when they're young and you put them there, they stay there.
Yeah.
Then they have to undo that shit when they grow up,
Mm.
like we did. Okay, no, I don't care. And it's funny because I even did it like that, with my kids, because like my mother, I have a brother that he was in my mom's house till he's way too grown, and stuff like that. And I just didn't believe in that. I said, no, I raised the kids so that they can go off and do what people do, live life. I said, not for them to stay in my house till they're 40 years old. No, absolutely not. I'm like, this is what you do. I raise them to be independent, try to teach them how to budget and things like that so that they can live their life. And they all do. They all live in Texas. They live in their own state, and I'm like, I think that's how you're supposed to do. But so many times parents, I think we, feel so guilty, and, maybe we didn't give them what we thought they should, or, and then I see a lot of parents that are like you, where they had older kids and they, it was rough for them and stuff like that. And then they were different people once they had the younger ones, you're a different person, and you realize that, some of the stuff and the pressure that you put on those older kids, you really didn't need to do.
Mm.
And so you raise the other kids, in a different way. And there are a lot of people that are like that,
Yeah.
that need to know that it's okay, because you can't fix that other situation. You can't change that. It's already
No.
done,
The,
but
the
you
thing,
can move forward and help your younger kid. And then the other thing is, you're different.
yeah. Well, the
You're more
thing is, you
calm.
always do things that with the knowledge that you have at the time.
Exactly.
Looking back on it, yeah, I could have done a lot of things so differently, but at the time, that's what I knew to be the best thing to
Exactly.
do. So to beat up yourself about it is not going to do any good to anybody.
No.
It's
I think
just,
about what Oprah
yeah,
said, or was it Maya Angelou? When you know better, do better. You
I don't
know
know who
better.
said it. But yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter who said it. I don't remember. Well, it does
Right.
matter, but I don't remember who. But yeah,
Right.
that's so true.
When you know better, do better. You know,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what I used to tell my kids that when they grew up. I said, you know, I said I did the best that I could with what I had and what I knew. I said, and you know, I said, you kids will probably grow up and you'll be having issues and you'll go see a counselor and they'll tell you to blame your mama. Well, what the fuck ever. I said, blame me if
Gonna
you
help
want to.
them.
I said, right. I'm like, it's not going to help you regardless of who you blame. Once you get grown, you need to figure that shit out.
Yep.
You know, take some time, you know, deal with what you need to deal with. You know,
Yeah.
I said, because it's not going to help anyway, regardless of who you blame. That's like such a wasted emotion.
I
You
know.
know, I mean, what is the point? You still have to make some moves. You still have to make some changes. I said, you know, people grow up all kinds of ways. They have, you know, parents that are drug addicted and parents who have mental illness and all kinds of stuff. I said, but in the end, they have to make a decision that they're going to do better and they're going to do it differently.
Different. Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. I said, you know, I said, it's like, you know, certain things I raised my kids different than my parents did, you know, and they did what they did. And I don't blame anybody for anything, what happened. However, this is not how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? You know, this is done. And it's funny because even now, my mom tells me that she's proud of me how I raised my kids because my kids are independent. They don't depend on me for nothing. I don't pay nobody's fucking bills but mine, you know. And I think that's amazing because nowadays, if you look around, you'll see people, their kids be 30 years old living in the house with them and not paying no damn bills, you know, just living and sucking off people. And I'm like, no, you need to go and create your life. You know, make a decision on what you're going to do and create what you're going to do and take care of it. You know, I'm like, no, because people say, oh, do your kids live with you? I'm like, hell no. Nope. I said, they're all grown and they live in their own houses. You
Because
know,
you look so young. Everybody
thank
would
you.
think that you've got little children.
Oh, they do all the time. When when I get work, they're like,
Like you don't
oh,
look.
well, how old are your kids? I'm like, well, my daughter will be 30 in November.
I'm
They're
like,
like,
you don't look like that you have a 30-year-old daughter.
I know, right? It's good genes.
Good genes. It's a beauty. Well, tell me a little bit about your book.
Okay, so the
What is
book
yeah that you
is it's an amazing undertaking. It's going to be called Walking Away, and it's all about how I walked away and I changed my life. It's going to cover the some of the things that I went through with my first marriage and how I transformed, you know, and I think that it's going to help a lot of women because I know that there are women that have gone through and that are going through the same things that I did, you know, and it's all about how to um, make lemonade out of lemons, you know, and it's all about, you know, because people say, because I stayed in my first marriage for 20 years. And people say, how did you stay that long and how did you even leave? You know, because a lot of people are afraid to leave after they've been with somebody that long. They're like, oh, you know, I can't leave because we have all this stuff together and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I walked away from all that shit. I didn't care about none of that. You know, for me, it was about peace and it was about love and it was about, you know, being happy, really. And so I got the idea to write the book. I actually have had this book in me for decades. And I have been thinking that I was going to write it. And to be honest, I started it several times and I lost it. Like I lost it on a computer crashed. That's where it was at, lost it. And then I had, you know, like now I send it to my email. So I'll never lose. It'll be there, you know, but back
you
then I
drop.
just, yeah. And
Um,
then I had printed it and lost it in storage.
it just
So
wasn't meant to be. This is the
yes,
version that has to go out there. Yeah.
yes. And I also think that now is the time as well, because there are a lot of variables in the book that I was like, you know, afraid of. And I think Cindy, you and I talked about this, about, how, if you put people in the book and then they want to sue and all kinds of stupid stuff. And so I thought about all of that. And then the other part for me was, I don't think I was ready to deal with it, because as we write, especially about our life, for me, repression was a way that I coped with a lot of stuff. So I pushed a lot of shit down, and now I'm writing and it's like coming up, but I'm writing my truth, and I'm so excited about it. It's almost like therapy, like I'm writing it and it's coming out, and I'm talking about, a lot of real feelings that I never even discussed with other people. There was so many secrets, because of some of the things that we were going through, that, people just didn't know, and even at the point where we decided to get divorced, when I went to church, people at my church were like shocked, because we fit the bill of the perfect family. We had a boy and a girl. They're 19 months apart, so they're back to back. And then us, we both, had decent jobs, and we were in the church and we were working in the ministry and all this stuff. And then, and then to people, it was like all of a sudden, it was over. And it wasn't like that for me, because I had that moment in the park a year before where I said, I need to be happy, you know? And then a year later,
So it took you a year to leave.
well, he left. And
Oh,
that was me. That really made me happy. But then after that, there was all kinds of things and emotional things that you go through, because even though, we hadn't been happy for a while, and there were a lot of things that we dealt with. Even when he left, I was happy that he was gone, because, I knew that there couldn't be anything worse. And so, but there were still emotions and stuff that I dealt with, and there were still healing that I had to do. And for me, I took almost a year before I even saw anybody romantically. I didn't even date, because I knew that I needed healing. I went and got some counseling, and, and I did things to help myself heal. I treated myself kindly, and I loved on me. I took myself out on dates by myself, went to the movies, went to get some dinner. I like sports, so I would go to the sports bar and watch football, and basketball, whatever. And I did things like that to make myself feel good and to make me feel loved by me. And I know that that was something that was crucial in my life. It was like a turning point, because, I went from being somebody's daughter to being somebody's wife to being somebody's mother. you know, and I did all that stuff really freaking young. So, I knew that I needed time just to get to know me and see what it was I liked, because at that point, I didn't even realize what I liked, because I worked so much, and, I took care of my kids, took care of my ex, and just really didn't have time to take care of me, or didn't take the time to take care of me, and didn't deem myself important enough to be loved by me. And so this was something that I did, and this is what's coming out in the book, because I know that there are lots of women that feel just that way, because a lot of times this is how we're trained as women. Put everybody else first. Don't think about yourself. It doesn't matter how you feel. You just make sure your kids are good, and your husband's good, and your church people is good, and everybody is good. But
yeah.
what about you? So that's a part of what I'm talking about in the book. And like I said, I have this amazing feeling that I know the time is right for it. And the most amazing thing is, my husband now read part of it, and he was like, God, I was in tears. He said, I didn't know you went through all that. I said, yeah, not a lot of people do, because I didn't talk about it and I didn't tell anybody, because to me, in order to be able to live in this life, I had to push it down, because you can't keep that shit in the front and be able to live. Because I like to smile and I like to laugh, and I did that all the time. And so people that knew me just had no idea that I was going through so much shit, because I always kept a smile, and I would paint the smile on my face, like before I went to work, like people put on makeup, I put a smile on.
Yep.
And this is what I did, and this is how I cope with it, and this is how I went on through my life, so that I wouldn't be one of these people that are saying, I'm gonna kill myself because I'm so miserable.
Yeah.
And so when I decided that it was time for this book to come, and I began to undertake that project, it's like, wow, and just like I said, it's so cathartic, it's healing, because, I'm able to speak my truth. And I know that it's something that's going to help so many women, because I know women that are just like that. I mean, I know them personally, and I talk to them and I say stuff to them like, you can be happy, and you can love on you. And I got a lot of rebuttal about that from a lot of people. I mean, I lost a lot of people that I call friends, because I chose to love on me, and I chose to learn how to take care of myself, and I was okay with that, because I knew that that was something that needed to happen, and I didn't care how other people were doing it. I've always been a person that was a trailblazer, and I don't think I even really realized that. But it's like I do something, and people are looking at me crazy, like, oh, you did that, and blah, blah, blah. And then you look up next year, and they're doing it, and then other people are doing it, and the other people are following, and I never realized that until just a few months ago, really. And I was like, wow, so it was bad for me to do it, but you can do it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can walk away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got the name of the book. And it's like, walking away, because I did. I walked away, and I just said, you know what? And then in the end, because I even talk about, like now when I met my husband and all this kind of stuff. And I just packed my car, and I just drove 2,000 miles across the country, because it was time for me to go. And to be honest with you, I was at work, and I heard the spirit tell me, it's time for you to go from here. And so I told one of my friends at work, and she said, oh, we're going to get off in a couple of hours. I said, no, you don't understand. It's time for me to leave this place. And I did. I didn't care. I mean, I left, I gave away furniture. I think I sold a few things, but I gave away furniture, and I just walked away. I just put my hands up, and if it could fit in my car, I packed my car. And, I had one cousin here that she said, you can come stay with me. I said, cool. Packed my car, and I was out, and I just walked away, because I knew that it was time, and I knew that, you know, I wasn't happy there. you know I was like, no, it's time for me to go. And it was so amazing. And I, even when I left, I said, well, I don't care, because somebody said, oh, you're going to meet your husband. I'm like, well, I'm not even thinking about that. I knew that I wanted to get married again, because I was young. And I said, I'm not thinking about that. I don't even care about that. I just need to be free, and I need to be able to live, and I need to be happy. And that was the only thing that was on my mind. And it's like, wow. And I know that, there are a lot of women nowadays, they're doing it, because they're like, I met a lady the other day. She said she had been married 35 years and they got divorced. I thought, wow,
Yeah.
that's something. I said, but when I was doing that, and in the middle of making those transitions and stuff, people looked at me like I had two heads. What? You've been together 20 years and you can't fix it? No, I don't want to fix it.
Some things are just not fixable.
Exactly. And it's funny, because it's like now you're seeing a lot of that, even on Facebook. Like, I'm in one of the divorce groups, and you're seeing a lot of that. Women just deciding, hey, I don't care that I've been with this man for 20 years. It's time for me to go. I've tried to fix this thing. It can't be fixed. And I said that. I said, I tried to fix it,
Yeah.
and I tried to be happy. Just be happy, because I had people that told me that. Just be happy. And I was like, Yeah, but you're not living in my house and
Mm.
you're not dealing with this bullshit that I'm dealing with. And I don't feel loved. And it was funny because that was the conversation that I even had later on with my ex, even after we were divorced. Because he called me and he said, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the fuck do you want? You know? And so anyway, but I still, talked to him and he said, I need you to forgive me. And I said, I already have. I said, because I can't carry unforgiveness and bitterness. I can't do it. I said, it's not healthy. I said, I don't know if you know, I said, but people die from carrying bitterness and unforgiveness. I said, they get cancer and they get all kinds of autoimmune diseases and all kinds of stuff like that. And this was even before I began to study that stuff. But they get all these conditions and they're directly related to, carrying unforgiveness and
Mm.
not allowing people to be them. And even now, I don't say anything bad about him. I just say he had no idea how to love me, and we even had conversations to that effect. He apologized. He said, I'm so sorry. He said, I didn't love you like you needed and like you deserve. And he said, and and it was funny. He said, I don't think I'll find anybody that will love me like you did. And I said, I don't think you will either. But I forgive you
Yeah.
because you did what you knew. I said, and I can't make you into somebody that you're not. I said, and you did what it was that you knew. I said, but it wasn't enough for me. I said, and I said, but I don't blame you at all. I said, and I forgive you. I said, and it's okay. I said, so you can go on with your life knowing that I've forgiven you. I said, and I'm not, I said, I'm not gonna ever say anything really bad about you, except that you didn't know how to love. I said, and it, more than likely it wasn't your fault, I said, but you just didn't. I said, but this is a story that, I tell in this book, and I'm so excited about it, and whew, I'm so excited. I'm just grateful that I'm able to write it from the standpoint that I'm at now, from the place. And just like you said, now is the time.
Yeah.
Back then when I lost all the different copies, and the thing is when I think back on it, it was a different type of share.
Yeah.
When I first started writing it, I was angry. And now, I'm not angry about it, and I have forgiven him, and I actually had a dream about him a few months ago. And it was actually right before I decided it's time to write the book.
Uh-huh.
And I told my husband about it, and I said, it's like I kept pulling him up, just kept pulling him with this rope. I kept pulling him. And then finally, I let go. And in the dream, I heard this voice say, you can't save him.
Really?
And I was like, wow. Yeah.
Powerful.
It said, you can't save him. And I was like, wow. And so I shared it with my husband, and he said, he said, it's time to let him go. And I said, I thought I did. I said, I released him. I've forgiven him. And he said, well, he said, apparently there's a part of it that you wouldn't release. And that's when I knew it was time to write the book. Because I did feel like, I was trying to save him, just trying to save him, trying to save him. And I couldn't save him.
Now
Couldn't.
everybody's got their own free will to
Yes,
do it
yes,
for themselves.
yes. Because it's like, I guess we met when we were 17. So
Wow.
we kind of grew up together, and I think I got married at 19. So it's like, you know, and it's funny because he would still call me because he said, you know me better than anybody else. And I did, because we grew up together. I knew how he was gonna act, what he was gonna do, and he had a little some bipolar points to him. He lived on the poles, I used to say. You know, one day he was up here, and one day he was way down. But the thing is as I grow and as we've learned that everybody pretty much is bipolar, it's just to what extent. Do you need some medicine to stabilize you? Or are you just, one day up and one day down, one day on the ground? You know what I mean? So, it's just one of those things. But I'm so excited about this book because I know that, and the thing is I never even thought about, I'm going to make a whole bunch of money off this book and all this stuff. That was never, ever my thought. My
I,
thought was, I'm going to help some people,
yeah,
because I know, no. I laughed. I said, if I took a poll of women and if they were being real, so many of them in that situation,
yeah,
and I know this. And so it's like in my heart, I just want to, be a change maker. I want to be able to help women to see that they can love on themselves, and they can be loved and they don't have to be stuck just because they did this thing. It's like one of those Vegas movies. They go to Vegas and they get married because they're drunk that night, right? Well, then they go and get an annulment later.
uh-huh,
And so a lot of women, they go and they get drunk and get married, but they stay. They
hey,
know they're not right. They're not compatible. It was just some stupid thing they did. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
they stay. And I felt like that's where I was. I did this thing and and then I had these kids and so now I was responsible. And so, I need to just stay and hang it out, and then those are the things our parents said to us, right? Oh, well, just, just hang it out. He'll change and this, that, and the third, or blah, 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 blah. And no,
no,
no. So, like I said, I just think that, when people are able to read it, it'll just open up and it's so many things that I put in the book, even already before I even finished it, that I'm like, I know that this is going to be so helpful, and for me, I guess also because I've been a nurse for so long and I call it the profession of helps, you know, I don't know any other way to be, and my thing is I truly believe in karma. So if I can't help you, I'm surely not gonna hurt you. And I believe, we should just spread love, and so that's what I try to do. And it's funny, I had a young lady at work the other day that said I was rude to her. And I was like,
huh?
what? I said, I'm never rude to anybody. I said, but if you want me to, I can be. But I said, I'm never rude to anybody ever, because I don't believe in that. I said, I try to throw kindness at people because that's what I want to get back.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm a serious believer in, the law of attraction and karma and all that stuff. I said, because I know that, when you put it out there, you're going to get it back, and so I don't,
sometimes, yep.
exactly. I'm like,
Maybe not straight away, but it'll come.
it's going to come. And these days, it's not coming on your generations, and I tell people, I said, back in like Bible times, things came back on your children's children and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Now, time and dispensation has sped up. It's coming back on you, which is right. When you put it out there, you're going to get it back.
yep.
So to me, the best thing to do is to sow kindness. I'm gonna be kind, and I'm not gonna be ugly and cruel and hateful. Because to me, I mean, what's the point of that anyway?
Yeah.
But I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
so I can't wait for that book to come out, and oh, I'm so excited for you and everybody because your bubbliness is gonna be in there, and your emotions and everything in between, and so wow. Well, thank you so much for chatting.
Anytime, because I fell in love with you when we did our chat. I was like, that girl, she just got all in my spirit. I love her.
Oh, well, I feel about the same about you. I can't wait to get to America, and then I'm gonna get this map. I planned it a couple of years ago that I'm gonna get this big world map, put it up on a wall, and I started asking people, so where do you live? And I'm gonna put a pin in there, and then where do you live? And I'm gonna put a pin, and then I'll plan a trip to visit everybody.
What's up? I'm telling you, this girl came to Phoenix, which is about 2 hours from where I live, and she came to do some kind of conference or something, and I really wanted to go and meet her. Right, matter of fact, she's the girl that I helped me do my outline for the book, and so I wanted to go meet her because she's like a beautiful spirit like you. And so she said, well, I'm coming to Phoenix. How far are you? I said, well, like 2 hours. I said, when you coming? Of course, she came the weekend, and that's when I work. So I was like, oh gosh, I said, I'm not going to be able to do it. I was so upset with, just that fact. But I was like, it's okay. I said, and so then I said to her, I said, there'll be another time. I said, and then I won't have to do this. I said, I'll be able to come. I said, because I would have gone, but I had all the days she was there, I had to work. So I was like, I said, okay. I said, it'll be another time. It's okay. I said, because I'm definitely going to get to meet you.
Yeah.
Because I said, I've met all these people on Facebook that are such beautiful humans that I just, I want to just meet them in person, just be able to hug them.
And,
you know what I mean?
And I want you to get the map and then put me on your map so you can come and visit me too. Put it out there and it just happens.
I was going to say, I can't put it on my vision board because let me show you. I'm going to show you my vision board. It's not neat, but things are up there. Because I laughed out. Somebody came over and they said, what's that? I said, that's my vision board. I said, everything's on there. It's not neat because that's not my style. I said, I gotta go for what I know. I said, that's not my style. I've never been like super artistic or anything like that. I said, but everything's up there.
The universe knows. That's the important thing, right? Doesn't matter how you tell the universe, as long as you're specific.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yes. I love your book. I'm looking at your cover on your shelf. That is nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm actually going to get your book. I keep forgetting. I was like, I need to order it because you said to get the paper and not to get the ebook.
Yeah, I took the ebook, like it wasn't even ebook, it was a Kindle. I took it off the market because you can't. I designed it in a way that it's like a word book.
Okay.
Not just a book to read, it's a word book. So you can't do any exercises in the Kindle version.
And I got a few Kindle. Well, I got quite a few because, yeah.
I love Kindle because I love reading them. Because if I'm out somewhere, wherever, I can just open it up and read a few pages, and it's really amazing. But this book is not a Kindle book, and I know I could have made a lot of money just people downloading it quickly, but then they don't get the benefit from it the same way as when they have the physical copy. So for me, it wasn't about making money just as for yourself. It's not about making the money. It's about what benefit somebody is going to get from reading it and doing the little things in there that some of them are easy to do, and some of them I know that some people want to chuck the book at me. And so, Cynthia, you can't tell me that. But
because I was sitting there thinking about it, I was like, I think I'm going to order me one, and then I'll order one for somebody for Christmas.
Oh, that's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, because the thing is I think I did that. Yeah, I did that a couple of years ago. I got what's his name, Wayne Dyer's book, and I ordered one for my mother, one for my sister, and I think one for my sister-in-law. And I sent all of them out, just ordered it and put their address and sent it to all of them for Christmas.
Yeah.
And this they all had a copy of the book. I can't remember what the name of that book was, but I had it on Kindle.
I really, just like you, it's as you know, I'm big on loving, love yourself first. So the book is all about it. But yeah, it's I know that a lot of people told me that they bought them as gifts for other people. So Actually, I put up a post yesterday because I just cashed my first royalty check. So yeah, it is so exciting. It wasn't about the money part of it. I don't want people to misunderstand it that it was about the money. It was about, I actually have it up on my, I write my dreams up on the wall with a pencil. I don't use paper and put it up. I write it straight onto the wall. So there's all these scribble. There's one wall that has just full of writing and love hearts and stuff. And one of the things was up there that I'm a best-selling author. And I knew that it's only going to come from something that is going to help a lot of people. So the post about yesterday, to receive that check, it was mostly about, yes, people are buying it, people are reading it, and I'm getting the messages sent to me that, Cindy, after reading your book, this is how I feel, you know, and thank you for pointing that out to me and pointing that, or, you know, all these little messages that I get, that's what, you know, that's what makes me jump out of the bed every morning, you know. So yeah, if somebody read the post and they're misunderstanding, oh, Cindy's happy about the money. It's and a lot of mostly my friends who are my Facebook friends, they've been on the journey with me to, you know, a lot of stuff that I went through.
You know,
I wanted to share the happiness with everybody. And
the thing is if they don't understand it, then it's not meant for them.
oh yeah, oh, I know that the people who are reading it, who are it's out onto the public. I didn't just make it for my friends. So I'm talking about all the people who probably don't know me. My friends would never think of it that way because they know me. But if somebody from the public doesn't know me, it's not about the money.
You know what they do too is they'll see a post like that, and then they'll go click on your profile, and then they'll see a lot of stuff. Because I've had that happen to me. You know, like I put a post in, and it's just like some of the posts I do with my husband and stuff. I have think about it for a second, and I say, I don't want people to think that, you know, I'm bragging because, you know, my husband loves me, this, that, and the third, whatever. I said, but I'm saying, and the people that know me know that I've been through so much damn hell with the first one that God sent me this one, you know, and he's so kind and he treats me like a queen, you know, and I'm so damn spoiled.
I know. I'm the same with Benny. I did these live videos last night after that, put the post up, and the first one was just, you know, say thank you to everybody. But then I jumped back on because I wanted to say a special thank you just for Benny, because I can't explain what it feels. It's just so easy with him. But at the same time, I have no idea how many times I wanted to break up with him, because he not once yelled at me, he not once criticized me, he not once tells me that, you know, like tells me off about me burning the food or something. He just, you know, just smiles at me, gives me a hug and does this, and, you know, but then he goes and cooks a beautiful meal, you know. And he, yeah, and I know that he stepped up really big time with my children and with me and everything. And, you know, it's just, he deserves a lot of credit for what I do, because the time that I spend on doing these other things, in the background, he's helping me with the cooking and the cleaning and all those things, so I don't have to do it. On top of, you know, his day job and night job, because he works like stupid crazy hours. So yeah, I'm proud of with that I have a man like that, because I know now that I deserve it. And, you know, every now and then I catch myself, oh, should I be guilty that he's doing the dishes and I'm writing? And I'm like, no, I'm not guilty. So yeah.
I had somebody laughing the other night. I said, man, I said, my husband was sick. I said, and God, my floor needed to be mopped. I said, but I had to wait till he got better. I said, because I haven't mopped floors since I met him. Because I said, well, you know, he knows how to swap the deck. I said, but the other thing is, my back hurts. I have, oh God, they want me to have surgery on it, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of pain sometimes in it, and I can't do it. So a lot of times, you know, before my kids left home, my daughter and my son and them would do all that mopping and stuff. And then they left home, and so it left me, and so I had to get a Swiffer or one of those wet things because I couldn't do all that because that stuff hurts my back. And so he recognized that, and so he does all that mopping and all that kind of stuff. I don't do it, and I'm like, I just, I was like, man, I was like, he got to get better because his floor needs to be mopped. And I can't do it, and it's like, oh my God, I grab the mop and, like I'll wipe something up. But I
Yeah.
mean, my whole house is floors. So it all has to be mopped. I don't have any vacuum, no rugs or not. I mean, I have rugs, but not carpet or anything. So I'm like, I can't mop this whole floor. This is almost a 2,000 square foot house. And somebody asked me about it and I was like, I don't mop. I was like, it's been years.
I think
But
if more of us were posting a lot more about our men, that how they love us, it gives a lot of encouragement for others to, if they're not in the same situation, to say, well, if she can have it, why can't I have it?
yes,
What is she doing that I'm not doing? That's what I used to do. And then finally I tweaked onto it that, I have to change me before I
exactly.
can have a change.
Yes, before you can attract the love that you need. And then, you know, I hope people walk away with seeing that you have to change yourself and
Yeah,
you have to learn how to love on you and take care of you and do things for you
yeah,
before you can expect somebody else that will do the same thing.
yeah.
And then the one thing I said, this was one thing I said when I wrote down everything I wanted in a man. I did. And I said, okay, this is what I want, blah, 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 blah. And one of the things I said was, I want a man that, knows how to love. And I want a man that has been through something. I need him to have gone through something so that he can appreciate a good woman, And so that was exactly what I got. And it was funny, even how we met. We met in church. It wasn't even our church. We were both visiting. And I was like, wow, this is so interesting. And and even the first night we went out, I called my mom. I said, Mom, I said, I think I just met my husband. And my mom was like, oh wow, what's his name?
So sweet.
Went on from there, but and it was so amazing because he's got the same name as my grandfather.
Wow.
So I thought about it one night and I said, you know what? I said, I think my grandfather picked this man because he has the same name and he acts like him. And my grandfather treated me like a little queen. And he treats me just like that. So I was like, I believe my grandfather handpicked this man for me,
Hmm.
in depth. I believe he handpicked this man and sent him for me,
Yeah.
and it's so amazing. And that's why I said I laugh. I said, every now and again, I'll do one of those posts and I feel like it'll encourage somebody, to see because so many women jump from one man to the other man to the other man and just like that. I mean, they don't even take no time in between.
Right.
Or they're always looking, for a man. But sometimes you have to take time for you,
Mm.
just be looking, and we say man, but if it's a woman that you're into, whatever you're into, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, for me, I'm into man. But I just say that, sometimes you have to take time to heal. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to take time to decide what the hell it is you want to. That's the other thing. Because a lot of times, especially when you're in those long-term relationships and you have kids and stuff like that, you don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you're looking for. You know, you haven't taken the time to figure out, you know, who you are and what it is you want. You know, because certain things people, and the thing is too, I notice as we get older and we're, you know, on the market, you looking for a man that you might have found in your 20s. You know, men come with baggage too, especially older. They've been married before. You know, they might have had a crazy ex-wife, you know, like my husband. Or they might have had, you know, children already, you know, and sometimes the children don't like you, but just because you're with their dad, stupid stuff, you know. And so you have to consider all those things, you know, because they don't, you know, just when you're 40 and you get married again, they probably already have kids and stuff, you know. And so it's a different type of thing that you look for.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're 20 and nobody has kids and all that stuff, and everything is gravy and lovely and all this, you know, but when they get 40 and 50, you know, they might have already been married, sometimes more than once. You know, sometimes they got two sets of kids. You know, sometimes they have all that, but just because all that's going on doesn't mean that they can't love you.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's another thing
That's
that
another 2 hours of talking about, because I yeah, lots to talk about there. So what's the last thing you want people to know before we leave? One big message. I know you mentioned it now, but
people to realize that they can be happy. You know, I feel like, you know, I laughed. I said, somebody was asking me if I had a title or something like that. I said, I got a few. I said, but I just thought of another one day. And I said, you know, I said, I feel like I'm a happiness coordinator. Because I want people to be happy. I want people to, you know, live their
yeah,
life, be happy. You know, I want them to be able to not be sad and depressed and all that stuff. You know, this
yeah,
is what I want. You know, and if it's any way that I can facilitate that, I'll do it.
yeah.
But I
I
have so
love
enjoyed
that. Oh, I would love to just keep chatting and chatting, but how about we get together again? When,
That's always an option. Sounds good.
pardon?
I said, that's always an option. Sounds good.
Yeah, and maybe just pick your brain more about the book, about, you know, the emotions that you might be going through and all those things. And I absolutely loved talking with you, and I can't wait to meet up in person one day. But in the meantime, I'm loving this. And thank you so much for your time and all your wisdom and all your posts. Even when I don't say anything on them, I do watch them, and I do like them. There was one post. We have to come back and do another video just on that, because I saw one of your posts and it really touched me. But let's do it another time.
All right, my dear.
Tammi,
Well,
this
you
was
know
a
what?
beautiful Tammi Morrison. I really appreciate you and can't wait for your next book.
I'm excited, and I can't wait to get your book. And I'll definitely send you a note when I do.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
All right, bye.
Everyone.